Hey guys, I want to take you through a quick shoulder assessment for any of you that are having shoulder problems out there, or if you want to make sure that you don't develop them. I want you to follow these simple rules and these tests. Come back to these tests when you're working out to make sure that your shoulders are properly functioning right and are strong enough to do the tasks that are ahead of itself, and you're not going to end up getting shoulder surgery, which is the last thing we want. So let's go just look at some basic range of motion exercises that we want to make sure that you want full range of motion in that joint, right? So if I'm tight, same thing. If my shoulder is supposed to go back here and it's stopping here, red flag. Do not work out. Do not touch a weight until you fix that. God's honest truth. You need full range of motion and mobility in your joints before you start doing stuff like working out or being an athlete and stepping for, because then what you're doing is you're asking for trouble, and you're only going to make it harder for your body, to fix itself later. So with that being said, let's go to the first shoulder exercise that I want you to do is the athlete scratch test. So I want to come back, touch this opposite shoulder blade. If you cannot touch opposite shoulder blade, you got issues, right? So I've noticed a lot of big guys that I've trained over the years, severely big in the arms, tight in the chest, and they're like this. They can't do that. Number one, athlete scratch test. Can you touch opposite shoulder blade? When you do that, is that shoulder blade winging? I'm trying to make my shoulder blade wing. I can't. So there it goes a little bit. All right, I got it sticking out. See how it's sticking out a little bit? So I've had some people, that's called wing shoulder blade. So it's hard for me, I'm trying to force mine out. But this shoulder blade it'll look like a shark. It's hard for me to kind of push it out for you, but this part, the medial border of my shoulder blade is winging, meaning it's basically coming out. Huge red flag there. Your shoulder blade's not even laying in place. Your shoulder blade is like the anchor. The anchor needs to be laid down before you start doing a lot of movements, right? It needs to be stable. All right. So athlete scratch test. Can you touch the opposite shoulder blade? Is your shoulder blades winging? Now I'm going to use the wall for these next few tests. Now it's good to get your wife or your husband, anybody you can, to kind of just pay attention to this. So up against the wall, my heels, my butt, and my back, right? So here, now I'm gonna see if I can, look at my low back, all right? You should have enough curve in here to slide, and when it stops is at my thumb. Your curve in your low back should be the size of that, right? So when I have people laying down on the ground doing hamstring stretches, I'll roll up a towel and put that under their navel on their backside. For me, when I had my back injury, I could slide my whole forearm through there. And that's called lordosis, excessive curvature, which is not good. But what most people have is a flattened S curve, which means that their low back is boom, and they can't even get their hand in there. Red flag, okay? Should stop at the thumb, and you can see when I did it the first time. Now I'm going to take my hands and I'm going to reach for the back up here, right? Now so notice no movement here. Now if I'm going up and if my curve increases, red flag, and I want to stop there. So basically, if I start, and I'm forcing this here on me, curving, then I'm so tight here in the lats that my spine now is trying to do the movement of my shoulder blades. Mark that down. A lot of people have that. Let's go to the internal, external rotation of the shoulder blades and look. So again, I'm gonna start here, butt, heels, upper back here. Now go back, try to touch here. Again, if I'm extending any little bit to hit that wall, mark it down on your paper, red flag, and then you're gonna wanna get that to me, and I'm gonna show you how to fix that stuff, all right? So this is what separates the good trainers from the bad, because they don't do this stuff. They just start taking you in there and exercising. If you got a trainer that does that, hey, you better be paying him very hardly any money, right? Because you get what you pay for. So let's look at internal rotation now, same thing. So I'm here. Now I'm going to try to touch, right? 20 degrees. Now I'm trying to, again, force my shoulder blades. So what I'm looking for is 20 degrees. When I get to 20 degrees from the wall is my shoulder popping out of its socket. So what I'll see with a lot of my clients is this. Can you watch this shoulder right here? If I start doing that and I'm here, right? Look at how my shoulder popped out of its socket. Red flag, mark it, check on both sides. Now, this one, guys, you're gonna need somebody to kind of help you do this. It's hard to do this one on your own. So with a little manual muscle testing. So let's take a look at that. On your stomach, you're gonna raise your hand up. Your partner is gonna put their hand on the opposite shoulder blade, and they're gonna be trying to push your arm down. Not with excessive force, guys. So, let me show you here. I'm on the ground. I got my hand up. They're gonna put their hands on the opposite shoulder blade to anchor, and they're gonna try to push your arm down. If they can push it down easy, and I've literally been able to do it with my pinky on some of my clients, you're trying to fight them. You're trying not to let them push it down. Red flag. Red flag, okay? So, chest. Let's look at the pectorals. Laying down on the ground with your hands interlaced behind your head. All right? Notice my shoulders, guys. Actually, this is probably from me doing yoga over the years. It's laying flat. It's hard for you to see. Can you see? My shoulder is laying flat against the floor. If it's up, and some of my clients can literally slide my hand. So if they got their hand back here and it's up, so can you see that? And I can slide my hand through there. That means that those pecs are tight and basically pulling your shoulder blade out of its socket. And I was just talking to a good friend of mine today, and I was telling him that I've literally had put clients on a stretch table, stretch their chest, and literally pop their shoulder back into place. So they're walking around during the day with such tight pecs and traps that it is dislocating their shoulder, which is not good, right? We need that shoulder blade to be popped in there. The best thing you can do is look at your posture. Is one shoulder higher than the other? Is my nipple line even? Right? Are my eyes even? They're not like this. Yep. Can you see that? My ears even. Take a look at that, guys. That's huge. So a lot of times I see this, right? So we know that this trap on this side is hot, and that levator scapula is tight, and that's going to lead to all kinds of problems. A lot of times you'll see that in people that have a lateral curvature of the spine, and which needs to be fixed or at least worked on in a consistent manner, which is going to only lead to issues. Or they might have a hiked hip and that thing. So again, we want to look at the hips as well. So are my hips even? Are they this, right? Are they turned in? So when I'm touching these two bony parts, which is my ASIS, is one more forward than the other, right? That means you've got a twisted spine, which could lead to shoulder problems too. The hips and shoulders are connected, guys. And so we've got to look at the hips as well, not just up here, but here. Because again, if this is like this, that's why this is like this, right? If I got a hip hike here, look at the compensation, right? That means I can sit here and fix this all day long, and it's never gonna fix their problem. I need to go down on the hips and look at the hips. So again, take your clothes off, get in the mirror, as bad as that sounds, but look at that stuff, because if you don't fix it, it's gonna catch you, it's gonna bite you in the ass later on. Look at your posture. If I look from the side, ear, shoulder, hip, knee, right? Look at it lined up. What you'll notice for most people is this, right? Forward head or rounded shoulders. So, or flattened S curve, right? If I'm looking at this hip, right? Yeah, it's a straight line, middle of the ear, middle of the shoulder, middle of the hip, middle of the knee, middle of the ankle. if I drop the plumb line through it. Take a look at those tests, guys. Those are some general tests. Here's another one, right? Come back down. You should be able to stretch. If you're here and you're stopping, problems, right? Normal mobility in the shoulder is huge. Write down those red flags, give them to me, and then I will write you a personalized program for that will address those issues and making sure that you limit those injuries, guys, and that we're progressing. We want to go this way, not this way. Because if you're deep months in and years into a good workout program and you injure yourself and it sets you back to square one, that's a very self-defeating for a lot of people. I've had very few clients overcome that. Takes a strong person. You should always be able to, no matter what though, guys, get yourself and get your ass back to moving. Because even if you're banged up, you still need to move that damn body no matter what. If you're in a wheelchair, you better wheel your ass into that gym and do your wrists, whatever the hell you got to do and get it done. So write your red flags down, guys. Another one would just be put your hands out like that. Have somebody push your shoulders down, right? I noticed with my father, I did that test with, and one arm I could just boop, and the other one I'd be able to stand on it and wouldn't drop. So noticing if there's a difference in one side to the other, because the body's symmetrical and they should be the same strong. If this lifts 20 pounds, this should lift 20 pounds, right? Write those red flags, guys. Get back to me. Namaste.